I call to order the April 14th, 2020 meeting, virtual meeting of the Saline County Board of Commissioners. Before we call the roll, if there are any citizens who wish to speak during the public forum or after any motion that we're making, you're asked to call 785-621-0800. And after that, you will enter the participant code, which is 782-956, followed by the pound. At the time that you wish to comment, you must dial *9, and the moderator will, at that point, unmute you, and you will be in the meeting. So at this time, I would ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Commissioner Shadwick?
Here.
Commissioner Sparks?
Here.
Commissioner Vidrickson?
Here.
Commissioner Weiss?
Here.
Commissioner White?
Here.
I ask of those of you in attendance to please stand and join me in a flag salute, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we'll enter into the citizens input portion of our meeting, where citizens may speak on county government, usually limited to 3 minutes, and items that are not on today's agenda. Is there anyone who wishes to speak?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Joan Rathblock.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I was wanting to make a comment about the jail and the vote that's, I guess it's going to be on the ballot in the fall. All due respect, I would like for the all of the choices to be on the ballot instead of your choosing one. Allow the public by vote to choose which option they prefer. So thank you for the opportunity to comment.
I will respond to that just briefly, Joan. In my opinion, if we did that, you could potentially have the winning would be with only 25 or 26%, and that would not be what the majority of the people would want. So that's why we have done it that way. So.
Well, I could suggest that you consider a ranked choice method then.
Okay, well, we appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Mr. Chair, no one else has raised their hand.
All right, we will proceed with our meeting. Our consent agenda consists of prior minutes, tax roll adjustments, accounts payable and payroll, along with the public forum. Are there any commissioners who wish to withdraw any of those consent agenda items today? Hearing no objections, I will say that we will accept them as presented. We will move into item number 1, which is RFA 155-20, a bid award for hot mix asphalt construction, with Justin Mader, our county engineer. Good morning, Justin.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. Can you hear me?
We can, yes.
Okay, excellent. So this request for action is to discuss and take appropriate action on the Saline County Road and Bridge Department request to award the bid for bitumen chip sealing. Sealed bids were open on April 2nd, 2020 at 11 a.m. 2 bids were received. Circle C Paving was the low bid for all projects, totaling $815,179.75. Hopefully you guys have a copy of the bid tabs with you so you can see some additional details if you like. The chip seal work will begin after July 15th and shall be completed by September 27, 2020. Therefore, there will be no work during the wheat harvest activities. So you should also have a copy of the project location map where I've denoted the roads that would be receiving chip seal with a red line. We should have 36 total miles this year. Two alternatives for action. It would be number one, accept the bids as indicated in the staff recommendation, or the second alternative would be to reject the bids. Staff recommends to accept the bid from Circle C Paving for the amount of estimated work to equal $815,179.75. The funds for this project will be taken from the account of contractual asphalt work. This account has a current unencumbered balance of $1,926,970. Other contractual work to be taken from this account include the HMA overlay and crack sealing contracts. And I did, hopefully you also have a sheet that's called the 2020 Asphalt Contractual Budgeting. And what I tried to do there is to give you a summary of all of the activities with the crack seal, the overlay, and the chip seal. And I'd also like to be adding a shouldering project on there. And so it kind of gives you an idea where we're at for all four types of projects.
Justin, thank you. My question with the red lines and the 36 miles, will they be able to do that in the time frame that you're suggesting with one crew, or do they move multiple crews into the Saline area, or how does that work?
No, it'll be one crew. It's a very fast moving operation, and what they'll do is they'll have stockpiles of material strategically placed around the county. And the contractor has to find those stockpile locations, but that'll take the haul from the stockpile to the project with the aggregate a lot shorter time, and so that really it's really a pretty quick moving operation.
All right, that's my only question. So at this time, are there any other questions from commissioners, comments?
Commissioner Leaf here. Justin, Circle C Paving, they were rewarded the contract last year. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I've lived through a number of different chip seal projects, and I have to say last year's project was probably one of the ones I got the most feedback, negative feedback from the public. A lot of concern with the product and how it worked on the roads. I really, I guess I asked you, are we doing anything different this year than what we did last year as far as the application of this chip seal?
We are. Last year was not something to be very proud of. What happened last year was really not at fault for to the contractor. The issue was the lack of oil that was placed on the road surface prior to placement of the aggregate surface. And so how this works is chip seal is kind of it's almost an art form. You can start off with a plan, and what I did is I spec'd out a shot rate for the oil, which was 4/10 of a gallon per square yard of oil. But that shot rate needs to be adjusted in the field, because it's really based off of the size of aggregate that you get and the condition of your road surface. So if you've got a smooth road surface, like if it was an asphalt overlay was the last maintenance operation on there, your road's going to be fairly smooth. But if you're chip sealing over another chip seal, it's going to be very rough, and your shot rate needs to change. And last year, the contractor kept asking if they could put down more oil because they felt that was a need, to do that. However, the situation that we had was that we put down more hot mix for the asphalt portion of our maintenance program. And a lot of that was overrun was due to trying to fix some really bad cross slope on North Street. Instead of putting like a 2-inch overlay on it, what we did is we put a 2-inch overlay at center line, and then we maintained a consistent cross slope. But the existing cross slope was quite a bit steeper that we were trying to fix, and thus put down a lot more hot mix, and I just didn't have the budget then left over to add to the chip seal oil. And so some roads held okay, but the roads around Burma and Assyria Road and Fallen Road, for whatever reason, it might have been a little bit bigger aggregate, or the road surface was a little bit rougher and it just needed more oil. Long story short, what we're doing is I have developed my program off of a lot higher shot rate. So I've in a sense reduced the miles of road, so I've got some more flexibility in adjusting that shot rate according to what's needed in the field on each mile of road, as well as I've changed the oil to add a little bit more polymer. And the polymer will give the oil a little more elasticity and lock onto the rock a little bit better. That was a long explanation. Did I lose you?
No. Well, I'm still here, Commissioner Vidrickson. So thank you, Justin. Anyone else? Does that answer your question, Commissioner Weiss?
Yes, it does.
All right, thank you. Any other commissioners wish to comment?
This is Commissioner White. Justin, could you please explain your impact fee regarding Halstead Road?
Oh, okay. So that Saline County and the city of Salina, developed that agreement. Oh boy, was it late 2018 maybe? Early 2019 regarding the landfill. And so there was some roads identified as impact roads. So the roads that the trash trucks, are hauling to the landfill. So that the county is obtaining funds from the city, to take care of these impact roads, around the area. And so what I'm doing is I'm using some of those funds to help pay for the Halstead Road from Old 40 up to Interstate.
All righty. Justin, you answered my question and jogged my memory. Thank you.
Okay, you bet.
Anyone else? Yes, this is Roger Sparks. And Justin, just a quick question. I know that the aggregates that we put on last year that you'd mentioned that were a little dustier and dirtier, are we changing our aggregate we're putting down this year?
No, the aggregate's the same. It's still coming out of Woodbine. It meets, I use a KDOT specification for the aggregate, which is not just the size, but there's a hardness to it as well, and it meets that spec. When you lose aggregate like we did last year, it gives the aggregate still on the road a lot more room to wiggle. It doesn't keep it locked in place from an aggregate right next to it. And so that really allows the traffic to break that rock down a lot quicker. If we can hold all of the majority of the aggregate in place and it doesn't allow that the aggregate to move around, then it doesn't break down like it did last year. So we are using the same aggregate.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and also in order to get an aggregate, if we require a harder aggregate, the haul is going to be quite a bit more, and thus I'd have to reduce my my program down quite a bit, to account for that extra cost.
All right, thank you. Are there any further comments from commissioners? Is there any public comment?
Mr. Chair, no one has raised their hand.
All right, hearing no public comment, I would ask for a motion from a commissioner, please.
Commissioner Shadwick, and Mr. Chairman, I move we award the bid to Circle C Paving as requested by staff.
Roger Sparks, and I second the motion.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve RFA 155-20, bid award for hot mix asphalt construction to Circle C paving. Any further comments? All of those in favor of the motion, and I'll start with Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Weiss.
Aye.
Commissioner Sparks.
Aye.
Commissioner Shadwick.
Aye.
And Commissioner Vidrickson, aye. The motion does pass 5-0. That concludes the action items for today's agenda. From our informational items, we have an idle fund report with Jim Du Bois, our county treasurer. Is Jim on the phone, on the line?
I am.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Wish interest rates was a little bit more positive, but I'll tell you what we have as of today. For January, February, March, we've collected in interest earnings $207,000, $165.02. Last year, at this time, we collected $250,937.10. So we're a little bit shy of last year by about $43,772.08. I did want to preface that by saying that on our main bank account, we went from a 1.38 of earning interest to a 0.20. So that has a dramatic impact on the interest that we earn on our main account, hoping that the economy is going to stimulate and we're able to recoup some of that. On a side note, on collections of taxes, we are 0.29 ahead of where we were last year. So that's really kind of a positive note to add to this whole process. So with that, I'll stand for questions.
Are there any questions from commissioners? Don't believe there are any, Jim. Thank you for your work. All we need to do is get these interest rates back up a little bit and solve our other major problem that we have going on. But thank you for your hard work, and thank you for your accurate information.
Thank you, Commissioners.
We'll move on to the county administrator's update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a few things today. To start with, I wanted to provide a brief update on where we are with development of our 2021 budget. The departments have entered their target budgets and are now working on additional requests, as well as requests for capital improvement, equipment improvement, and technology improvement requests. I will be doing a quarterly update of the 2020 budget next Tuesday for the commissioners, and I'm happy to report that Jason Tiller with our health department has received his first grant related to the COVID-19 emergency. It was a small grant, but at least it's some money coming in. I wanted to update the commission on news from Topeka. As I'm sure everyone is aware, there was quite a bit of controversy over the weekend regarding the governor's Executive Order 20-18. As of right now, that executive order stands. It requires a 10-person limit on gatherings, including funerals and churches. We were sort of expecting the governor to announce an extension of the statewide stay-at-home order, but that has not occurred yet. I've been in discussions with our auditor, outside auditor, and he has basically completed the audit of the county books as of 12/31/19. And I was wondering if the commission would like him to come and give an audit presentation. I'm used to that happening in places that I've been before, but Mr. Hoffmeyer says that hasn't happened here in a number of years, so just looking for some commission feedback on that. I would also remind commissioners, if you are out and about to get groceries or perform other essential services, if you could stop by the city-county building and call up to our office. We have a number of items that we could use some commissioner signatures on right now. We'll be happy to bring them down to you in the driveway. And last but not least, I had a conversation with our financial advisor, Dave Arterberry with Stiefel, regarding the jail project. And given the fact that the commission decided to have the election in the November general, we are now planning to delay the running of the financial scenarios a little bit in order to get more of our sales tax information due to this COVID-19. So those scenarios will not be coming to you quite as soon as originally anticipated, but we'll still be in plenty of time for the November election. That's all I have this morning, and I'll be happy to answer questions.
All right, thank you. I would say that for commissioners, I think we should think about it for next week when we start talking about the 2021 budget, and give Phil and an answer on whether we want the auditor to come and give us a report, which sounds like a pretty good idea for information as far as I'm concerned, but I'll let the rest of you weigh in on that, and let's decide that for next week if that's okay with everyone. So are there any commissioner comments or announcements? Obviously, we haven't been to too many meetings here lately, so hope everyone's adhering to the stay-at-home and social distancing. So at that point, looks like we're going to move to an executive session.
Mr. Chairman, this is County Administrator Philip Smith-Haynes again. I would request that the commission enter into an executive session under the non-elected personnel exemption to the Kansas Open Meetings Act to discuss a department head performance evaluation. Those in attendance would be the commissioners, myself, and Deputy Administrator Hannah Stambaugh, and we would reconvene via conference at 9:33.
Commissioner Vidrickson and I will make the motion. Could I ask for a second, please?
This is Roger Sparks, and I second the motion.
All right, it has been moved and seconded that we move into executive session for the purpose of discussing non-elected personnel to reconvene in here in 10 minutes or at 9:33. We are in executive session. All right, we are back into regular session.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, Roger.
Yes.
Monty. Do you have any others that have called in? Roger, Monty, and Jim?
And Mike.
And Mike. All right, we are back into regular session. First, let me clarify an error that we made before we went into executive session via the phones and everything. We didn't take a proper vote. I want to make sure that we do have it in the record that was approved. So I will ask the vote on the going into the executive session for those in favor, and that would be Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Weiss.
Aye.
Commissioner Sparks.
Aye.
Commissioner Shadwick.
Aye.
And Commissioner Vidrickson is aye. So we do have a 5-0 to go into executive session. As we've come out of executive session, there is no action taken. And at this time, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Commissioner Shadwick, so moved.
Commissioner Sparks, second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adjourn today's meeting. Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Weiss,
Aye.
Commissioner Sparks,
Aye.
Commissioner Shadwick,
Aye.
Commissioner Vidrickson is also aye. Before I say we are adjourned, I just want everyone to stay safe. Please adhere to the social distancing. Stay at home. Let's try to get through this. We're getting there, so hang in there. We're adjourned.